Edition, over the hill, Grahamstown, Baintown, from everywhere they're coming. They're the people's choice, the Saxon Superstars.
Hello? Who's in the morning?
Roots.
My name is Sean from Marshall Barbacoa. I've been a resident here for 38 years. Today's date is the 9th of February 2023. As you can imagine, being here for 38 years, I've noticed more illegal migrants in the last 3 years than I noticed in the last 20 years. Our numbers are climbing through the roof. One of the things that I think that's contributing to this is the growth of the shanty towns. I've been video recording these huge houses, apartment complexes that's being built to house the new illegals entering the country. I'm also concerned that the shantytown is being used as a safe haven. And my belief is if we could get rid of the shantytowns, we could eradicate the safe havens for the new illegal migrants.
There is no rhyme or reason why the government cannot go today, as everyone has been saying, and clear out those shanty towns. There's a reason why they're not doing it. And if they don't want to do it, they need to have a press conference and let us know why. Right? You can't continue to have two set of rules in this country. Either the law applies or it does not. And it has to be equitable across the board. These shanty towns, like Sean said above, I agree with him. It's like a safety haven, somewhere to go when you come in on a sloop that has not been stopped in the dead of night. Right? These things sounds like they sound like stories, hey, or a movie, but it's actually happening. And how long do the Bahamians have to cry in the wilderness before the authorities, whichever government? It don't matter to me, right? I'm a Bahamian. When are we going to clear this matter up satisfactorily? You don't think that Bahamian people tired getting taxed? Right? You have people in your country almost as much as your Bahamian, your regular organic Bahamian citizen. Right? If you're not going to catch them and let them go, make sure they are contributing to this economy by clearing out the shanty towns. There are places to rent. They know how to do it. They rent one apartment, they got but 10 of them in there. At least the apartment has building codes and it's to standard. I don't know for how long, because these people come and bring their ways with them. So, it break down in no time. That ain't our problem. But our problem is shantytown should not be on any of our crown lands. If you're not giving the regular hard-working Bahamian access to crown land, how the hell can you let a foreigner breach our borders, come here, have children, and they be able to squat on our crown land and get land? I mean, you all mix right up. Mix right up. People are not happy, not settled with this. It's an easy fix. What is the problem? Y'all need to let the Bahamian people know what the problem is, because it ain't making no kind of sense. No kind of sense.
So they have this look like a police surveillance vehicle, taking surveillance, I guess, of Lincoln's, of the Coalition of Independence headquarters. That is AG 3141, and it looks like persons are inside the vehicle. I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know if these are police officers or whom they are, but they have been circulating and circling the coalition. Okay, that's a police jeep. So that's a police vehicle, and they've been circling the Coalition of Independence headquarters for the last hour and a half. So I don't know, guys, if you all feel as if we're not a threat or what exactly is the point of this. But obviously, we are under heavy surveillance now.
Girl, Bahamian people never on time. Girl, I know.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for informing us that we had no sound. It is always a pleasure to have you with us and to spend your Sunday evening with us. It's later than it normally is, but of course, we waited later to hear what the outgoing Prime Minister had to say on his press conference. He announced a press conference, but he did not say what it was going to be about. And now we know that his conference was about immigration. And we have heard him say nothing that we haven't heard before. We have not heard any plan. We heard some lies, some outright lies, and I am disappointed. That is, I don't even know how many minutes it was. Maybe it was 15, 20 minutes. I don't know. But that's 15, 20 minutes that I cannot get back again. I seriously am disappointed that I sat down for that period of time in order to wait for that nonsense. I just want to, I'm going to get to a few things for you here. I just want to say that to this government that we are extremely disappointed with your lack of vision, your lack of political will. And it seems right now that the coalition of independence is running this country. That the only things that you do is what we demand that you do. It's almost like you are a puppet on the string of the coalition of independence. We are looking for our leaders to lead. We don't want to have to tell you what to do and to get out there on the streets and to force your hand into doing it. It is disappointing that you have no vision for immigration in this country. You have no vision for crime in this country, or education in this country, or healthcare, or anything in this country. Buying ships is not vision. That's buying ships. That's not vision. Hiring immigration officers is not vision. That is not what you call a vision for immigration. That's hiring more immigration officers. It's what you do. So let me make this make sense for you. If you have a football team, just getting fellas to play on your football team is not a playbook. It's not a plan. You need a playbook. You need to let us know what exactly you're going to do with these people and how you're going to do it. How you're going to afford to pay for their helmets, their gear, etc., and what's going to happen. This government is sickening. It is time that you retire to the graveyard of politics. I also want to make a special note to all of you. I want to make a special note. After having what I'm calling the Caricom Massacre, where old women were tackled and body slammed and stumped and kicked, by men, where men punched an old woman in her mouth, where people were thrown into buses on top of each other, where persons were kidnapped by police officers after having an entire event that was on the headlines of the newspapers and all over social media all week. This cowardly Prime Minister failed to and refused to even comment on it. He had the commissioner of police standing right there. He had the minister of national security standing right there. He had what I'm going to call the four horsemen of death standing around him as he spoke. And he said nothing about the fact that women and men, elderly women and elderly men, were kidnapped, beaten, assaulted in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and their only crime was being a Bahamian, standing around in the Bahamas. The government has made a decision to drag these persons before the court. That's their decision. The court will determine what is what. But I just want to make it clear to this prime minister, this prime minister who intends to be a dictator. But I want him to understand that if it's his plan to be a dictator in this country, and based on all evidence, that is what his plan is, that he is going to have to lock me up a lot more times. That they're going to have to kill me before I allow this country, our sweet, beautiful democracy, to sink into a dictatorship in this land. We are going to stand up. And there are many more elderly women who are willing to go out and stand up and be arrested, standing up for this country, this one country that we have. We are not afraid to be arrested. We are not afraid to die for this cause, because we have one country and y'all are playing around. A life sentence is a light sentence. All the activists have one. Do what you have to do. We're going to stand up. We'll take a life sentence or death sentence, but you are not going to turn the Bahamas into Haiti. We went to the Prime Minister's office on January 17th and we made some demands to the Prime Minister. We told him to appeal to the courts to have the new structures built in the shantytowns demolished. He did that. But of course, he did not have to do that. But I'm going to get to that when I talk about his comments. He did not need to do that to start demolishing. We told him to set up a naval blockade at our southern border. He failed to do that. This prime minister is unable to follow simple instructions from his bosses. So in the first one, he did that. The second one, he failed to set up a naval blockade to stop these ships from coming in. Why? Because he wants the ships to come in. Number three, we told him to immediately, and this was our 10-point plan, we told him to immediately suspend the issuance of visas and work permits to Haitian nationals. He stopped the issuance of work permits. He did not stop the issuance of visas. So that's still a fail to me. And what they did was they implemented permits to reside and said it would be on a case-by-case basis, which means that they can now let anyone in this country without any oversight, no publishing in the Gazette, et cetera, et cetera. 4, we told the Prime Minister to immediately suspend the issuance of citizenships to persons not born in the Bahamas or to a Bahamian parent. He failed to carry out our instructions. So far, he has 1 out of 4. With 1 of them, he got a half, so 1.5, because he stopped the work permits but not the visa. So 1.5 out of 4. It's a failing grade so far. Number 5, we told him to ban anyone who enters the Bahamas illegally from gaining any status or justification to remain in the Bahamas. They have failed to do that. Why? Because it is their intent to sell papers to these illegals. Number 6, unleash a joint task force to aggressively target, arrest, and repatriate illegal immigrants. Deputize 500 Bahamian volunteers to assist with arresting illegal immigrants around the nation. This includes shantytowns at workplaces. And so they put together a joint task force. Our sources in the senior ranks of the police force have informed us that they have put this task force together, and they call it Operation Secure. But it remains to be seen exactly what Operation Secure is going to do. We've heard this before, and this is not their first joint task force. But we said to arrest, repatriate illegal immigrants, to hit these all of these places. So we'll see what is done. We've heard their mouth, but we haven't seen anything. So until we see it, it's a fail. Number 7, we instructed them to prosecute persons who employ, house, and harbor illegal immigrants. Now, he said they are going to do that, but this has been from January 7th. We made this instruction, and he has not done that. But he said that they're going to do that. We've heard that before. We heard ministers say it. You know, we're tired of the talks. Bahamians, we are tired of talks. I'm not impressed with anything I heard that gentleman say today. And so we heard him say it, but he's not done it up to this time. So again, that's a fail. So again, we have 1.5 out of 7. Number 8, insist that Haiti assists with the cost of arresting and repatriating the citizens here illegally. He has failed to do so. That would have caused Haiti and would have forced their hands to stop their people from leaving on those sloops to head to the Bahamas. We told him to place a special tax on remittances to Haiti to assist with repatriation and law enforcement expenses. They're complaining about the country not having enough resources, etc. But millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars are going out of this country every year. And we can find ways to keep some of that by taxing it heavily and using the taxes from it to pay for repatriations, etc., which are extremely expensive. But of course, this government has no vision, so they don't want to do anything that sounds like vision. And we understand why. Number 10, we told them to enact laws to prevent immigrants from becoming Governor General, Prime Minister, and members of Parliament. He's failed to do that. And we know why. Because the plan of these people is to take over our country. And the government's job is to aid and abet them, to assist them. How hard is it to go into the House of Assembly and pass a law preventing anyone who lands in this country illegally or are immigrants legally from becoming Prime Minister or Governor General? No, that's not on their agenda. Haiti has that law to protect their status. In America, you cannot be president unless you were born there or you're an original American, born to an American, an organic American. Why doesn't the Bahamian have this law? You see, some people say stop focusing on the Haitians, stop focusing, focus on the other legal immigrants also. I will say to you, I'm serious with this. I don't see any Chinese participating in our elections or making an attempt to influence our elections. I don't see any Jamaicans doing it. I don't see the Filipinos lined up in PLP shirts having rallies, trying to influence our elections. I don't see the Chinese trying to steal our names, to take our names. I don't see them building shanty towns and taking our land, thousands of acres of crown land. I don't see that. And so since the government doesn't know what to do, we're going to have to give them true leadership, and we're going to have to continue to keep their foot to the fire and do what we have to do. So while the government is planning and hemming and hawing, we're calling on all of you to meet us at 10 a.m. on Saturday. That's 10 a.m. this Saturday. 10 a.m. this Saturday. If someone can tell me what the date is, that'll help. 10 a.m. this Saturday, we're going to be on Bacardi Park. Meet us there. And we're going to demolish down. That is the 25th. That is Saturday, the 25th. This Saturday coming, the 25th at 10 a.m. Meet us on that park, and we're going to demolish a shanty town. And so be there with us. We have to stand up and protect our land because the government does not know what to do. And so we're going to do it. This country requires strong leadership now, not cowards who would send police officers with heavy artillery and machine guns to attack helpless women. That's a coward. A man who would slap down a woman is a coward. A man who would hit a woman is a coward. Philip Brave Davis is not brave. He is a coward. Philip Coward Davis sent police officers onto a beach to attack women. This cannot be entertained. This cannot be allowed in our country. We have to stand up. And one of the reasons we have to stand up is because we are suffering from apartheid in this country. Bahamians are the only ones experiencing xenophobia in this country. We are suffering from economic apartheid, and we are suffering from social apartheid. Bahamians are being excluded. And I don't want you to think that we're going to be focusing all of our efforts on illegal immigration. We're going to be focusing on that, but we are going to expand our efforts into taking back everything the enemy has stolen from us, into exposing how Bahamians have been left behind in this country, how we are being discriminated against. All of the things that we are excluded from in this country needs to come to the forefront. It's time for real evolutionary change. Ladies and gentlemen, the evolution has begun. It is time. Ladies and gentlemen, you live in a country where anyone, including a Haitian immigrant, can go in to the casino and gamble, but you can't. Why? Because you're Bahamian. Isn't that strange? Your only sin is because you're Bahamian. The only reason it's wrong is because you're Bahamian. You're living in a country where you cannot own a casino hotel, which is the nexus of our whole economy. Our whole economy revolves around the casino hotel. But you can't own it. Why? Because you're Bahamian. What kind of leaders are these that we have in this country? What kind of leaders are these that we have in this country? I'm going to talk about some more of that in a minute. I just wanted to address a couple of things that Brave Davis talked about, and then I'm going to talk about the economic apartheid and social apartheid that we are suffering as Bahamians. And we sit down and just continue to allow it. It's time to take our country forward. We're going to take our country back because they've been taking our country backwards. So, Brave Davis talked about a few things. One of those things was that he said that he did not sign his agreement. He's saying it again because he realized that we don't believe him. Now, Brave Davis said he did not sign on with other persons in LA to an agreement that none of them literally signed. When they sign on, they're really talking about agreeing to certain things. And certain countries came on board, gave their support and said they were going to do it, and it is non-binding in the first place. But if Brave Davis is saying that they signed, he didn't sign. He was standing there with them. Nobody else in the world who didn't sign was standing on that stage. Philip Brave Davis. Everyone else who was there signed. Why then were you there? Were you lost? Philip Davis, are you suffering from early stage dementia? Because if that line at the stage was for persons who signed, why were you standing there with the people who signed? Philip Davis, we're going to need you to explain that to us. Secondly, if they signed and you didn't sign, but you're the one who came back doing everything that clearly was agreed to there, you are worse than them. Because if you didn't sign, but you came back changing the lingo from calling them illegal immigrants, which our law calls them. It's written in our law. It calls them illegal passengers. And it's passengers because everyone who comes here has to come as a passenger. You can't walk across the border. You have to come on a boat or a plane. All right? And it's difficult to swim to the Bahamas. So they call them illegal passengers. So they are illegal immigrants. But you change the lingo, even though our law says that, and you started calling what they decided to call it there undocumented migrants. You didn't sign. You came back with the lingo. You didn't sign, but you stopped rounding these persons out to sea. Someone please tell me the last time a defense force boat has caught illegal immigrants out to sea. And the reason I'm asking you that is because you bragged about last year, 4,478 persons being repatriated. But what you failed to say is that those persons were captured by the U.S. Coast Guard. And you said that there was one ship that landed. One ship was able to land. So this sound is breaking up badly. Of course it is. Okay, they said it's not clear. Let's see what we can do about that. We're gonna make a quick shift. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we made a quick little shift. Let us know if the audio is better at this time. So you do your check. Tell us if the audio is better. Someone says good now. Okay, perfect. Perfect. It's clear now. Okay. So good. See, we got our producers around the world. We're international. Our producers from everywhere. Thank you so much for that. And so we'll continue. The Prime Minister talked about repatriating 4,478 persons. But of course, these persons are being captured by the Cubans, the Americans, and the Turks and Caicos. How is it that our defense force, all of a sudden, since LA, since Brave Davis didn't sign this deal to allow immigrants into our country, how is it that since then, the defense force has not been capturing anyone out to sea? Someone please explain that for me. Because Brave, if you didn't sign, you are the biggest failure in this country's history. You are the biggest fool in this country's history. Or you take us to be the biggest fools in this country's history. Because you didn't sign, but the whole Bahamas can see that y'all are not catching anyone out to sea anymore. The police isn't, the defense force isn't, immigration isn't, customs isn't. No one in the cabinet is. How is it? Brave, I think it would have been better if you had signed. Because you're not making any sense right now. How is it that you didn't sign, but you allowed these people to expand one community from 50 acres, which is not true because it was only 5 acres when I visited there with your press secretary. I took him there. It was only about 5 acres, 10 the most. How is it that I expanded from 5 acres to 500 acres on your watch? How is it? Brave, it would have been better if you had signed. Well, how is it that all of the islands have shanty towns that have started to expand? How is it that on the Boodle Highway, it continues to expand? Brave Davis, the new generation is not falling for your lies and for your tricks. We want real solutions. We're not impressed with you anymore. You said that only one ship was able to land in the Bahamas. The fact, Brave Davis, that you said those words, no Bahamian should trust you to deal with illegal immigration again. You literally said the words that only one ship was able to land in the Bahamas. Now, previously, the Defense Force had said that no ships had landed. But my question to you is, all of these communities are expanding. Let's stay with me now. Stay with me. I'm going to say this very slow. It's going to be so easy that even a caveman could understand it. If only one ship landed, how did the shanty town in the farm go from 5 or 50 acres to 500 acres? And the SC Boodle Highway, 500 acres on one side and 500 acres on the next side. So you're saying that the Haitians are having that much children? They're having that much children? I have lost all confidence in law enforcement in this country because the Prime Minister made that statement. He must be the biggest imbecile in this country's history. How is it that the shanty town in Eleuthera has expanded? Black Point. How is it that we're seeing the same thing, the expansion of shanty towns in Harbour Island, in Andres, explosion of population? And all of those people came on one ship? Someone please explain that to me. Common sense would say to the Prime Minister, instead of trying to lie and deceive us, thinking that we are our grandparents' generation, say that y'all only know of one ship. It's clear that the other ships got in and you didn't catch them. But instead of addressing this properly, you decide to lie to us. I cry shame on anyone who would wear a yellow shirt after this. Shame on anyone who would wear a blue PLP shirt after this. This is tantamount to treason. We know what you are doing, Philip Brave Davis. We are on to you. This is the promise that you made before election, that you would be together with your people. This was your words to them. Our generations are fools.
Let me just say that I have always been a part of this community. And there's no accident I know how to do all the dancing. Because I always be and share with you. Because you are me and I am you. And I'll be here with you always. And those who knew me from the past and know me now, they always knew that I was there and always been there for you. I don't call you all, you all are not Haitians, Bahamians. You are Bahamian, and your origin is Haitian. Mine too, and many of us. We have to stay apart for now so we can be together later. Here on now.
Are you all ready and willing to go?
Haitian Davis, your words, not mine. You said you're one of them. Philip Haitian Davis, And so moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, you have the option to call him one of two things: Philip Howard Davis or Philip Haitian Davis, just to remind the Bahamian people who he said he will dedicate this term to, that he is going to look out for them. Now, if the prime minister promised these people that he's going to look out for them, and now we see that they are not catching the boats, that they're expanding, and the government and the prime minister himself, not the government, is lying and saying that only one boat with Haitians land in this country. So now that I'm walking in the mall and I'm hearing all this Creole all around me, and I'm looking in the schools and I see that the schools have more of these other children than they have of our children. Now that I look at the construction sites and I see that there's more of them than there are of Bahamians, it was you. It was you, Philip. Bahamas, you have to make a decision. This is the last election where we are going to be the majority. I heard a voice note, and I wouldn't even play it, from Fred Mitchell. I heard a voice note where Fred Mitchell talked about the fact that the Haitians have to come here and take this country over because the Bahamians don't want to work. Bahamians want to work. Bahamians have been working. Who do you think is cleaning the toilets in the hotels and making up the beds in the hotel? Bahamians don't want to do certain jobs. Who are in the hotels? Cleaning up the vomit of our visitors. We are doing that. Bahamians don't want to do certain jobs. We would love to do construction, but the construction owners don't want to hire Bahamians because when they fall short on paying, the Haitian can't complain, the Bahamian can. Because the Haitian is illegal. He can cut his pay. He doesn't have to pay an IB for him. So then they make the excuse that Bahamians don't want to work. Yes, they do. Oh, Bahamians don't want to mow landscaping. Who's on the side of the road cleaning up these highways with the big orange or yellow bags, raking up leaves? Bahamians are doing that. Bahamians are doing any job in this country. Bahamians are riding on the back of those garbage trucks. Bahamians. We want to work. You guys are pushing us out economically from ownership or from employment. They are killing Bahamians in this country. But we are going to take our country back to stop them from taking our country backwards. Bahamas, it's time for us to unite and stand together. A few more things about what Philip Davis had to say. He called it Operation Secure. Let me just say to you that Philip made no statement of any plan on how they're going to get rid of the illegal immigrants who have been taking over our land. There was no plan mentioned. There were some nice items mentioned, but there's no plan. There's no plan to save this country. There's talk. We're tired of hearing talks. You're going on 2 years. We're tired of hearing the talks. Philip Davis, I have no interest in anything you have to say. Enough of the talk. If you don't know what to do, because your words, you said you are doing everything you can. And this, of course, is what prompted me and the civilized Bahamians. That's what prompted us to say that enough is enough. If you said that you're doing everything you can, you need to step down. At that time, looking lost in this picture, like Humpty Dumpty, you said we're doing all we can. And this is why we sent you the 10-point plan. And you've been failing on that. And your Minister of Immigration.
It is impossible, Madam Speaker, for us, the Royal Bahamas Defence Force and our law enforcement agencies, to police our waters. 100,000 square miles of water. It is impossible, Madam Speaker, for us, the Royal Bahamas Defence Force and our law enforcement agencies, to police our waters. 100,000 square miles of water.
You're doing everything you can. You're doing everything you can. The minister is saying it's impossible. I call on all of you to step down. Step down and step down now. Before our country is gone under these bungling government ministers who only know how to oppress Bahamians. Let's get back to what we originally talked about. Because we're going to give you a real immigration plan. We gave you the 10-point plan, but you don't seem to be serious. Let me help you, Philip Brave Davis. Step down, call an election, do whatever you have to do. Commit suicide. Do whatever it takes to get lost. So that we can set up a firewall in the sea, a seawall, a blockade, so that no more sloops can pass in Nagua to the east or to the west. None. But you don't want that, because when they land, you all are selling them papers. That is what you are doing. Haitians are paying up to $12,000 now to get straight. One Haitian offered someone I know $20,000 to get them straight. This is a big money business, and your cookies, Philip Davis, are making money. And this is why you're not leaving this open. Close the door now. So that we can set up a blockade so that no one else can come in. And so that we can take our police, immigration, and defense force into these shanty towns and demolish them. And remove all illegal immigrants. Someone says that, oh, Lincoln doesn't like Haitians. I love Haitians. I love all people. I love my Bahamian people more. I love Haiti. I love the Bahamas more. We do not want all immigrants to leave this country. Someone is going to have to work for us in the New Bahamas. So to say that Lincoln hates Haitians, etc., no. We need them to work for us. Please get this straight. If you're Haitian, you're in the Haitian community, in the Haitian village, please send this message to them. We don't want all Haitians to go home. Some of them are going to have to stay here and work for us, the good ones. They're going to have to come here the right way. That's all we want. Why is that too much to ask? Why is it that when we say, come here the right way, Guardian Radio gets all ups and on, and oh, these people are hatred, they're hate, it's xenophobia. Why do they have to come here the right way? What are you talking about? The minute we present a proper argument, come the right way, they start name calling. And that's normally what imbeciles do. They start name calling. Oh, they're hateful. Oh, they're xenophobic. They start calling us names. While we're talking about solutions and the real problem, they decide to call us names. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, I don't care what name they call me. But we can fix this country because I don't have no other country. We can fix this because you don't have no other country. We can fix this. They can call all the names they want. In fact, I'll get them a dictionary and they can find all the names in the dictionary and call me that. In fact, you can call me all the names in the Bible, including what Fred Mitchell does, call me Satan. But let me tell you something. We can fix this country. And who don't belong here is going home. Who belongs here is going to stay with us and help us build this country. I hope they can understand that. And I will tell you that many of the Haitians understand that, and they agree with that. We don't want anyone coming here. We want you to come the right way. Now, moving forward in the New Bahamas, if you come here illegally, we have a simple solution to that. And let me be the first one to say this to Philip Brave Davis, and I hope you all take this idea from me. Like you take all the ideas, but you don't know how to implement it. If you come here illegally in the New Bahamas, you are going to court and you are going to be sentenced to jail. 5 years in prison. And during that 5 years, you are going to do hard labor. You're going to be sentenced to hard labor. And you are going to grow our farms. Since you like farming in Andres, you are going to grow our food for free. You are going to build our hospitals and police stations and government buildings. So we're not going to be renting buildings from crooked politicians anymore. We're going to build our own buildings so that we don't have to pay rent. And you are going to build them if you come here illegally. You'll build them for free. We're going to put you to work. 5 years, hard labor. Now, if you come the right way, you get to get paid. You get to be a part of our society. You get to pay your taxes like the rest of us. That's a real plan. That's real solutions. I guarantee you they won't come illegally anymore. So if you say it's a humanitarian situation, yes, you'll get 3 meals a day. You'll get free food and free housing, but you're going to work. Hard labor. If you don't come the right way. It's simple as that. Come the right way. We will persecute anyone who hires illegal immigrants. It's your duty to check. Because they shouldn't work for you unless you got them the papers. If you hire someone who has papers to work for someone else, you are going to jail. And the reason we have to take these strong measures is because we're in crisis. We're in crisis. Loftus-Roger could have fixed this problem. They stopped him because Pinland had already made an agreement with the Keys to have these illegal immigrants come in and work on the farms in Abaco. And so it was like, hey, stop. I'm making money from this. You got to stand up, Bahamas. We got to fix this, but in order to fix this, we're going to need strong leadership that is not corrupt. Philip Brave Davis and the Progressive Liberal Party is corrupt. They are corrupt to the core. And if we don't fix this by next election, we're done. Now, there's some people who are saying that, well, people of Haitian descent aren't going to vote for you, or Haitians aren't going to vote for you, if you take this strong stance against illegal immigrants, then don't vote for me. If I have to choose between your vote and saving this country and letting another acre of land stolen by people who don't belong here, by having another Bahamian mother have a baby in the hospital and then having to sit in a chair, have another Bahamian grandmother sitting in A&E for 3 days before she can get a bed, having another Bahamian child not being able to get in a school because they're saying the school is full. If I have to choose between your vote and that, keep your vote. Let's save our country. Not one other illegal immigrant will land here. I don't care if you're Chinese, American, European, or Haitian, or Jamaican. Not one person will land here illegally. Not because of draconian measures, because we're going to make it, we're going to incentivize it so they want to come here legally. In Dubai, Qatar, and these places where you benefit from your natural resources and people want to come to work to build a nation, they have no immigration problem. They're outnumbered, but they don't have a problem. Their immigrants aren't trying to influence their elections. Can you imagine illegal immigrants and immigrants trying to influence your election and determine what happens in your country so that they could bring more people in? Don't you all understand what's happening? This is a takeover. They're not trying to come here for humanitarian purpose and live. They're trying to take over. The children in the schools are now telling the teachers it's more of us than y'all. We're taking over. If the children saying it, what conversations do you think they're overhearing? I call on all Bahamians to stand together. Put aside color for once. And like the Haitian said, they could vote for who? Looking out for them. And so Brave looked out for them. I call on Bahamians to vote for who's looking out for you. Vote for who's going to stand up for you. Let's transform this country. Let's have a country that our grandchildren can grow up in. Look, if you are in the room in your house right now, look at your grandchild. Your grandchild can't take this fight that's coming. You got to do this for them. I know you might like your PLP, you might like your FNM, which is the same thing. But is it more important for your party to win or for your country to win? I think it's more important for our country to win. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we decided to go out to CARICOM. I'm just going to update those of you who weren't able to hear an update that I had. We went out to CARICOM. And what happened out there has never happened in a civilized nation in the Western Hemisphere. Bahamians were attacked and brutalized, and then charged before the court after being attacked and brutalized. If you're happy with that, then I don't know what to say about the society that we're now living in. I heard Fred Mitchell in a video post this morning talking some nonsense about the reason they had to have additional security is because I shot a gun in the air before. That was what he said. That was the reason for having additional security. The problem with that lie is, because they always have the lie, the problem with that lie is, there wasn't additional security there. When we came out to that roundabout, there was no one there. No police, no, not one. There was no police on that roundabout. There were no barricades on that roundabout. And we had announced that we were going to that roundabout. And so, what is this talk about security? If there was a need for heightened security because there were some foreign dignitaries, why would there no police on the roundabout, which is the entrance to the hotel? Tell me. So, I don't understand why the PLP thinks that they could just say anything and people are just going to believe them. I don't know which generation they think this is. Maybe they're still confused. Fred Mitchell definitely is confused. We know that for a fact that he is confused. But he needs to wake up. So we went there. I was kidnapped. Others reported being kidnapped. They went to the point of attacking. I want you to look at those videos very well. They were attacking persons and taking their cell phones. I think they realized that they had got caught on camera. And so maybe someone called them and say, hey, why are y'all doing this nonsense and you're on camera? And so they decided to start taking people's cameras. That's the persons they were chasing, the ones with cameras. The woman they tackled. Let's take a second and look at this. They're sharing this on WhatsApp now, and that's music in it, but I won't play it with the music because it may have copyright issues. So I'm going to play it without the music. See how we can do that. Yeah, I'm going to mute it. All right. So I'm just going to play this without the music so you can see it. Um, you saw what happened. Let me know if you can hear us properly. Let me know if you can hear us properly. Hopefully you can. That was the Caracas massacre. And that's what happened while the government
The PLP think they slick. The PLP ducking questions in Parliament, got people meeting with the commissioner like they getting called into the principal's office, got a SWAT team escorting Brave into the House of Assembly, got Parliament barricaded like it's John Canoe, and they want you to believe all this is because someone called and threatened the Prime Minister? When in reality, all this heightened security and polarization is because
the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting kicks off in Nassau next week. The Bahamas is preparing to host regional leaders at the upcoming CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. Prime Minister Philip Davis will simultaneously chair the meeting.
That's right. All of this is so that Brave can put on a show for all the other regional Caribbean leaders and pretend like Bahamians are not adamantly opposed to illegal immigration. I suspect that Brave will go into the CARICOM meeting proposing one of three things, all of which the Bahamian people do not want. 1. Brave may suggest some sort of amnesty which would allow illegal immigrants already here to stay and not be deported. Pledge some significant amount of the Bahamian taxpayers' money or resources to help fix Haiti. Or 3, which is something that the Minister of National Security already suggested, commit to sending Bahamian armed forces into Haiti to risk their lives trying to stabilize a failed state. Now, they may not be able to say this because they are armed forces, so if they are ordered to go and they refuse, it may be considered mutiny or insubordination. But I'll come right out and tell you, ain't no Bahamian Defense Force officer trying to risk their life and die in Haiti. The Haitian people don't even want to risk their lives in Haiti, much less a Bahamian. There are things we are not willing to give up to fix Haiti. Our sovereignty, our limited resources, and our lives.
back. All right. So much. Thank you. I'm gonna lines for you. Before I do that, is one more thing I want to do. The Bahamians are suffering from economic apartheid, social apartheid. There's so much you can do. They look at everyone else in this country, and they don't look out for us. They fight against us, while we get nothing in this country. So our movement is going to be about putting Bahamians first. And there may be some people who don't understand that. And it may start with us fighting for our crown land. It's our land. Able to gamble anymore because they felt like the foreigners, and so our black government discriminatory law because they felt like the foreigner wouldn't want to sit next. And if we want to make money, we got to continue with this Jim Crow kind of situation, racism on us. The people who fought racist law in place. And then they start using excuses like, oh, well, the Bahamians don't know how to behave. But that wasn't the reason for it. The Bahamians out their money, that wasn't the reason for it. Their reasoning was that the foreign white people from the South, which is most of our tourists, wouldn't want to sit next to us. If you don't want to sit next to us, stay home. Don't come to my country. This country is for us. And we need a new country where we build it for us and the Bahamian people. And everything we do is for the enjoyment of the Bahamian people. And we allow our foreign guests to come and enjoy what we do with us. The roads are built for us, and we allow the foreigners to come and use our roads. But right now, they have the roads terrible until it's time to do it for election and to funnel money to their cronies, because that's the only reason they do roads, to funnel money to their cronies. But before CARICOM, they actually were doing some paving on West Bay Street. The paving was horribly done. And they did it for CARICOM. Before they paved roads, even up to that morning, they were paving on Michael Road, hit the machinery right on Golden Gates Church's property, right there. And they literally stopped where the prince was going because the road wasn't being paved for you. That was being paved for them. I think we need to invite more foreigners to this country because that's the only way it looks like we could get any beautification or any roads done in this country. You understand? And so we need a new Bahamas. There's one more thing I want to read to you before I open the phone lines. I'm going to open it right now. It looks like with me. This is Randall Fox. I'm really enjoying reading this articles. That we're still fighting for the same things that they were fighting for then. And we're actually legally in the Bahamas, especially that. But post office will use it banks. But the accounting there was so dismal. It was almost like the government was intentionally keeping it disorganized and no proper accounting so that stealing could take place. And every time that they were caught in stealing, they would blame some black person who was an employee there, and they would lock them up. And so Randall Fox, who did a lot of legal aid, decided to help one particular black person and represent him. To represent him. It's freezing. Someone says it's freezing. Okay. I'm not sure. Let me take a look. Just hold one sec. Let me see how this is functioning for you. Let me see how this is functioning for you. Especially that. But post office, but the accounting dealing, they would blame some black person who's an employee there, and they would lock them up. That's all right. Yeah, it is freezing and choppy a little bit. We'll see if it recovers. Let me know if it recovers. If it continues to freeze, please let me know. Oh, this is back up. And so Randall Fox decided to represent this fella. And he started to expose the corruption in government. Randall Fox did. And he started to expose the corruption in government because it was showing the government, it was embarrassing them to see how unorganized they were. And he was only doing that as a defense to show that it isn't this Bahamian who stole the money, it's your accounting. There's no accountability here. And there's no, between getting the money from the island of the treasury, there's no accountability. How could you blame this man? And he put up a good case, and everyone's like, oh, this is an easy win. This is clearly obvious that it's not the black man. He still, during the case, someone came to him who had been to a meeting somewhere, and he had heard them say that they were going to disbar him because he's making the government look bad. That they were trying to dig up anything on him. They're trying to find any dirt on you. And they didn't find none, they still get disbar you. But they're trying to find some dirt on you, because that's how they operate, still to this day. Listen, they trying to dig and find something on me right now. They all about, that's all they do. They trying to find something on Maria, something on Miss Green, something on anyone they can see. And all they can do is keep making up lies about me because they can't find nothing. Let me make this clear to you. If there's anything on me, in 20 years of fighting them, I would have been finished. Finished. They can't find where I owe BC nothing. They can't find where I owe customs nothing. In all the business I've done, I don't owe customs nothing. I don't owe NIB nothing. And all the things that I've done, they can't even find a traffic ticket on my record, let alone a criminal offense. I was in police force 10 official years, and I've never been put on a charge once, never been disciplined for coming late, not being clean, being insubordinate. You can't find nothing on me, so they make up lies every day. And that's why I don't even respond to them. All right? And so they started to dig up to try to find something on this man. They didn't find anything on this man. Nothing. And so he still lost the case. They decided against him. And then they started to raise a bunch of money to appeal. And when he went to go to appeal, they served him with a letter to say, yeah, this is a trial for your disbarment. And he went to trial for disbarment, and he put up a good fight. When he spoke up against the white man. He told them, you know, why is this going on in this country? Why you victimize me because I'm standing out and speaking out for the rights of the people? Why you victimize me because I'm, and of course he still lost. And he was disbarred. He had 2 young children to take care of. But when he walked out of the court, the people were there and they stood with him. There's nothing more encouraging than that. And he said that lifted his spirit, because he knew he wouldn't be able to make money for the next 2 years that he was disbarred. And it lifted his spirit. And they told him, the same way you represented our people in that court, we want you to represent us in the House of Assembly. They said, you're the man. You're fighting for the people. And he went home to his wife and he said, I can't practice law anymore. And she said, yeah, but you're going to go to the House of Assembly and you're going to represent the people. He said, but how we can eat? Don't worry about that. You have a purpose. Let's worry about your purpose. She was so supportive. But they weren't finished. They removed him of everything that he was a part of. They started to victimize him. He left the country and he went to New York to live, because he was basically run out of town. He went to New York to live, and he's walking on the streets of New York with no money and no friends. Why? Because he chose to fight for the people. Because he chose to fight for the people. Go read this book. There's a lot in there. I want to open the phone lines to hear what you have to say about what the Prime Minister had to say, what you think about their non-solutions for immigration. You can call the number 8035995. Let's talk. 8035995. 8035995. Let's get that number up there for them. 8035995 is the number you can call. Let me make sure it's not on silent. No, it isn't. So you can call. You can call now. 8035995. Let's talk. When you think about what the Prime Minister had to say, how do you feel? Do you think he's doing a good job in immigration? You think he flammed us again? How do you feel about all this? All right. How do you feel about all this? Okay, we got a caller coming in. Good afternoon, you're live. Hold on, we can't hear you. We're having some. Go ahead. Yes.
Sorry for that.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just called in. We appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate the fight that you're doing for us. And I actually was one of the persons who was locked up with you.
Oh, wow. Thank you, man. Thank you for defending your country.
And I just want to say this again. Listen to me. I always tell people I have never voted for the FNM or PLP, but I am behind you 150%. Just like you say, if we have to die for our Bahamian people to get it, if I have to put my life on the line for the Bahamian people, because a lot of people don't understand. We standing up for everyone. We're even standing up for the police who aren't getting their gratuity. There's a lot of stuff going on in this country that people are just going along with, and they know it's not right. But like an officer was telling me, when I was locked up, they can't show any political bias. So they need us to stand up and fight for them.
Yeah.
You understand? And I'll tell you one thing. I'm a young man. I believe in God, and I can see God in you, and I know at the end of the day. See, this is the problem. This is what they did. Our fathers, our grandmothers, they taught us not to take any nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a no-nonsense generation.
Yeah.
Understand? Back then, they was giving them time to get it right, but they had implanted in us that we are not to take any nonsense. And so today, this is what they are getting. You understand? We were instructed. We are creature of instructions here in the Bahamas. We were instructed to go to Goodman's Bay. We went to Goodman's Bay. When we got to Goodman's Bay, we were arrested on Goodman's Bay. They're just taking away every right and every liberty of the Bahamian citizen.
Yes.
And it's not right. It's not fair. When we was inside those cells, we were kept longer than the 48 hours. And I'm a person who know about the cell situation. They're not supposed to keep you.
Yeah, we've never seen it happen before in the Bahamas. I've never heard of someone being kept more than 48 hours in this country. I've never heard of that.
Then on top of that, they kept us the last minute, and we had to come up with cash bail. I had to go and get money off my account and pay cash bail. And I had to call my people and get letter and let them come there and sign. Come on, they know what they're doing. They're trying to persecute us.
Yeah.
And Jesus was persecuted. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I challenge the Bahamian people to get on board this. You can't be silenced anymore. You know what it is for our police have to be on the streets taking bribes from citizens, extorting us just because you can't stand up and say you want your gratuity?
Wow. Thanks for your call, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say, while all you are still on here, the officer that tackled, just hold the line 1 sec, I'll be right with you. The officer that tackled a woman, that small, frail woman out there because she had a phone and was using a phone in a public place, recording a video. The officer that chased her down and tackled her, his name, they're reporting that his name is 3812 Mitchell. They said he's a police officer of Haitian descent. 3812 Mitchell. He is not welcome in the New Bahamas. They said he has a special friendship. Take that how you want. He has a special friendship with Lehman Delavo, deputy commissioner, that he was promoted to corporal, and he was made Lehman Delavo's chauffeur. And so that's who he is. And so there seemed to be some person who was elected to go there. And so they say he was made Lehman Delavo's chauffeur. Lehman Delavo has a certain reputation. He worked in the Family Islands all his life. So people over here, like, you never heard of him because we don't know him. He's on the Family Islands all his life. But we're going to get to that. Stay tuned. Because a lot of young officers went to the Family Islands and they got some pressure put on this. Pressure. All right. So maybe we lost that other call. Just hold the line one sec. I'll get right with you. So even Delavo also runs an ice cream business. The phone's going off the hook, but I just got to get this out. And I'm calling on all of you to boycott that ice cream business. So when you go in the gas station and you see the ice cream and those little things, the little coolers, don't buy them. And you know, if I'm saying to boycott that, there's nothing I like more than ice cream. And so I'm calling on you to boycott the ice cream in the gas station. Don't eat that. That ice cream is blood ice cream. Let's boycott that. So all of those, like the bars and all of that, he has the distribution for that. Boycott it. Don't touch it. Let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. Ben. How are you doing, sir?
I'm awesome. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This Jeffrey, Mr. Jeffrey Clark from Brave City.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Florida, and let me tell you, I was so angry about what I was seeing. I was angry about how can you do this to the Bahamian people? You don't want them to be over in Bahama, so you send them to the beach. Now they out to the beach. You don't want them on the sand. You want them in the water. So what is it? The land for the Haitians and the water for the Bahamians got to get wet. That's what the case is.
I understand the mistake we made. The mistake is not the fault of anyone else other than us. We should have been more strategic. And I know we still got what we want done, and we outsmarted the police by booking in the hotel. But we actually should have brought some Haitians out there with us. And I think they would have treated us differently. They might have let us protest if we had brought Haitians with us, or if we had just simply said that we are Haitians. That was my fault. I was the leader, and I should have thought of that one. Because all I'm seeing now is, if something happened in Nation with this, you'll have a 3-4 ambulance there. They'll get attention of social services. Do you know that social services has already placed those persons from the fire last week? They've already housed them. How many Bahamians were waiting for housing?
Mr. Ben, that's a travesty of what's going on in this country. And honestly, you know what we need? We need some more Miss Lundys. Even Lord bless her soul, but we need more unapologetic Bahamians to stand out and to speak out. Stop being afraid. Get up and get out. Stop being afraid. And you know what these news stations? Boycott them as well. Because they're trying to blacklist you. And I see it. Everybody sees it.
Thank you, man.
And one more thing too.
Go ahead.
I was watching those other people, with the Prime Minister over there on his live.
Yeah.
This is what they're afraid of. At the peak of his prime time live, he haven't even touched the numbers that you're touching tonight.
Yeah.
That's what they're afraid of.
People don't want to hear him again.
And this is another thing too. What you doing, you allowing the people to speak. He's not allowing the people to have a voice.
Wow.
And I know that, Mr. Brave Davis, allow your people to have a voice. Give them an audience with you. Allow them to speak to you and voice how they feel.
Yes.
And do not oppress them. I know they're all listening right now because they're all tuned into you.
Yes, they are. They're watching. Thank you for your call, man.
You're welcome, Mr. Ben. You have a great night. Now I'm ready to tell all my family now. They better send their vote your way. So
thank you, man. Thank you. Our live has peaked tonight. At around, in the system, I could have seen about 2,200 persons. So you may be watching on Facebook, so you would have seen one number. But we have on all the platforms put together, we peaked at around 2,100 watching one time. So that's going to turn out to be a lot of people. That's going to be thousands of people. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good night, Mr. Richard.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
And I believe in you. You are Moses. You stretch your rod across that sea and you set your people free. God be with you, baby.
Thank you. Thank you, and God bless you. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bain. I have a few points I want to make.
Go ahead.
Hello? Okay. In the draft, I was so disappointed with that. I was so disappointed with the draft of the Prime Minister.
Do you want me to tell you what happened with the address? They did their address at 8 o'clock. Normally you do it earlier on a Sunday. I guess they were hoping that I would go live at 5 o'clock and give some solutions and they would be able to copy it. But I decided to go live after them because they don't have any way of getting solutions. All they do is listen to my lives and watch my lives to try to see what to do next.
Listen, the PM did not address what took place at CARICOM to the Bahamian people. They were kicked, they were punched by officers. They were harassed by the Bahamian people were harassed. And it is wrong. The police officers were under orders to had the dogs out. The police officers, the ASPs or the khaki suits, they were under orders. The dogs were out there for the Bahamian people.
Wow.
Guns was there. I saw it all. I was disappointed.
Wow.
I was upset.
Wow.
And a lot of people are talking about it in the streets. But let me make my other point. The PM is committing treason.
Yes.
Secondly, there are no checks and balances. He's not being held accountable by anyone. The cabinet is not holding him accountable. The opposition is not holding him accountable. He's doing what he wants to do.
Yes.
And that has got to stop. Secondly, I feel, that the Prime Minister is a puppet for the U.S. and for CARICOM. They are telling him what to do, and he's being obedient. And he's doing it.
He's a puppet also for the Haitian community.
Oh, of course, because he is one. Listen, a new thing is coming on stream, and the Bahamians do not even know about it. The licensing for your business license, they're having something come on stream now where they can go on your account if you don't pay your NIB and different things, and they can move your money because you apply for your license, and they'll have access to all of your bank accounts and stuff like that.
Yes, that's called garnishing.
Yes, that is against people's free will and rights.
Yes, it
How
is.
could you go on my account without my permission and move money to pay NIB and pay business license? If I don't pay the business license, maybe I have it. That ain't for that.
Philip Davis is breaking the backs of the Bahamian people.
I'm just about to say that. He is breaking the backs of Bahamian people by increasing tax on NIB, on food, and we're not getting the economic empowerment that our people need. They only want to do it for the oligarchs. And because it's not happening to the oligarchs and their children and their family, and because the House of Parliament, that cabinet, opposition and present MPs are hugging up all the contracts, I'm saying it right, all of the things that are given out, like the contracts in the road or the contracts in the cleaning or the contracts in the hotel. MPs of them. So they're collecting a salary, they're getting kickback. Plus, there are people who given oh Lord, I ain't saying it right, contracts for these things, have to pay them again. Listen, though the vision tarry, it should surely come to pass. Yeah, it can come to pass that you can be the Prime Minister because people are fed up and people are tired. That is what I really want to say. He's a puppet and nobody trusts them. Nobody trusts what they say. They just are tingling cymbals moving their mouth.
Yes.
They don't have an audience. Only their cronies are supporting them.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. We are headed to Miami, ladies and gentlemen. So save up your money. We are headed to Miami, and so we're going to let you know the plans in short order. So by the middle of March, we're going to be headed there. We're going to give you the date shortly this week. We're headed to Miami, so you can come with us. If you're in the United States already, we're gonna let you know where to come down to fly down to, and we're gonna go and protest in front of the Bahamian embassy, and we're also going to have a town hall meeting to educate persons on what's going on. So make sure you are there for both of those things. We're gonna update you, and so it's gonna be quick. It's going to be in the middle of March. We're looking right now tentatively at about March 12th. So make sure that you, if you're able to travel and you want to come with us, let's take it over there. All right. So they're applying for the permits right now, and we're gonna make this happen. Good evening, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. Lincoln Bean. I have actually 2 questions for you. I need to bring this present.
Yes.
I know we presented, when I say we, as in the Bahamian people presented solutions to the Prime Minister's office about the immigration issues. Do you think the Prime Minister got solutions?
Yes, he did. He did get a solution. I can confirm that for you. They got our, and that's why they started to touch on a couple of things, and they were doing that just to hope that we would cancel the protests or so that they could be able to say, well, see, we're doing some things. So they got the solutions, and they started to pluck from it.
All right. And also, I want to bring it home because tonight was very disappointing listening to the Prime Minister, but then that shouldn't surprise me. You know, I was waiting for some big announcement that he's going to do some really great things to protect us as Bahamian citizens. Now, I want to ask you, if you were part of the CARICOM, what would you do different from what was done by this Prime Minister? And how would you use the CARICOM to defend us as a country?
Well, CARICOM is a group of Caribbean nations. All of them seem to be in similar situations. We would be standing up as leaders in this region. All right, we're not looking to them for anything. Jamaica, there's not much help that we can get from Jamaica, Barbados, et cetera, et cetera. We can work together on certain things, but we're looking to benefit from our natural resources. We're looking to benefit from our carbon credits. They are competition because they also have carbon. I wouldn't be sitting in any meeting talking with my competition about carbon credits. I would have us make billions of dollars first and let them play catch up. I would not be sitting in meetings about carbon credits with our competition, to be honest with you. They would have to catch us up 10 years from now. But that's what I would be dealing with. I do not think that CARICOM has the solution or the wherewithal to deal with the Haitian situation. The fact of the matter is, even Canada says that they're going to give some money towards some things, but Canada Trudeau is saying that they're going to send ships. They're going to send ships there, 2 ships, but the ships are not going to go on land. All right. One thing I heard them say that I was talking about a little while, and this is the direction they should go in, is that the oligarchs in that country are funding the gangs, and they're funding the gangs to take over the communities. And so when the gang rules a community, the people have to vote for who the gang says that they should vote for. It doesn't make any sense to us, but that's how it works. All right, and that's why the fighting is going on, because an election is coming up. It's nothing to do with any earthquake or anything else. An election is coming up, and the gangs are trying to control the street. There is nothing. Hold on, there is nothing the UN, America, Canada, anyone can do to a people who are willing to cut off their nose despite their faith. They're willing to die for what they're dealing with. So you're not going to come in there and tell them stop trying to control their neighborhoods. That's a part of their culture. And so our governments need a better understanding. Go ahead, sorry.
We already know that Ariel Henry is a spillover. He is an appointed. He was never elected. And this is the reason why the issues will continue, because the people are in an uproar because they never went to an election. So My thing now is, right, we have this $33 trillion industry, right? We all know this now, it's common knowledge. And we didn't feel that the government had to use the opportunity to put a plan out for maybe all of these CARICOM countries to say, well, this is what we are going to do in the Bahamas, blah, 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 blah. But he didn't do that. All he did was talk about the election in Haiti and how we have to help them, and that was it. I don't understand what was our role. What is the CARICOM, as we being the chairperson of the CARICOM? What's going to be our role? What was our role? Because I think I missed that, and I was trying to listen to figure out what was our role. And also, right, I just want to leave you with this one.
There was no hold on. There was no role. A lot of our countries have natural resources, and we're going to inspire these countries to make their people benefit from their natural resources. There's bauxite in Jamaica. Why aren't Jamaicans benefiting from that? There's all kinds of natural resources, including gold. 80 gold. They found a mountain of gold. You know who got it? The Canadians. Why do you think that Canada is sending the ship first? Why do you think they're the first one going down there? Because they got the deal to mine the gold in Haiti. Now, there were issues that came up because foreigners can't own land, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they found ways around that. But they're sending the military ships. They were given the contract. And this was when Martelli was there. I was there at the time. I was doing humanitarian stuff and doing business there. And I can tell you that Canada is there first. But they're not just there first because of any other reason other than how they can benefit.
Right. So my final question is, do you think, honestly, that the CARICOM is benefiting the Bahamas?
There's always ways to work together as a people, but what we have to do is empower all of our islands and have reasons to travel back and forth and do things. I can tell you that CARICOM will benefit the Bahamas in the new Bahamas because we are going to encourage our citizens to open business and do business in these other Caribbean islands. We're going to do tourism projects, etc., in these other Caribbean islands. We're going to have ships that goes these other Caribbean islands. So it's going to make more sense to be able to have interconnected travel between these islands, etc. There's not enough tourism between us to do that now. It won't make economic sense, but we're going to give reasons for us to travel between each other. We're also going to allow cables to be run to the Bahamas. There was one that ran from the Bahamas to Haiti, but that was damaged in a hurricane. But we're going to run internet cable that runs through us, and we're going to make billions of dollars through that. And so we just have to have some reason for us to interconnect. Right now, all of us go to, I think we lost video. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you lost video just now, so I hope that you can still hear me properly. Go ahead, caller. You can continue.
Okay. No, I just wanted to say in ending, right? Keep up the good work. Keep pushing. We are supporting you 100%.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. All right. Okay. So we hope you can see us again. Just let me know. Give me a little yes if you can hear and see me properly. We just had to switch to the computer. All right. So we have some plans. Good. So I'm sorry this camera doesn't look as good as the other ones, but you know, after we've been on so long, this is all we can do. So we have plans. We're going to be filing complaint. We're going to be filing a call I'm going to get to you right now. We're filing an official complaint for crimes against humanity against this government. What happened was a crime against humanity, not just on Goodman's Bay, not just CARICOM, but another incident where persons were arrested outside of the House of Parliament. Another incident where we were refused to be able to deliver one letter to the office of the Prime Minister. Where Bahamians are being treated with disdain, but they're opening the doors to everybody else. So we're going to be dealing with the Switzerland with The Hague. We're going to be dealing with the UN Human Rights Committee on that. Stay tuned for that. You're going to see that. We're not playing with them. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Good evening, you're live.
Good night, President Bain. How's everything?
I am awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good now that everybody's out of custody.
Thank you.
I wonder if you can entertain me for just 10 seconds.
Go ahead.
Mr. Bain, can you please divide 100 million by 1,500 people and tell me whose phone number is that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Whose phone number?
That's 100 million that FTX paid 1,500 Bahamians. Tell me whose phone number is that from the number you get. I think that's a sign from God.
100 million. Okay, I'm putting it in the calculator.
Right.
Divided by 1,500.
Right, 1,500 people.
That's 666.
Right. Now, whose number is that?
That's the number of a man.
That's I'll tell you what.
The beast.
That's right. That says a powerful sign, Mr. Bain. You're on the right track. Thank you and good night.
Thank you for your call. I just want all of you to understand that that the 1,500 persons that they talked about wasn't just people. That was actually companies that our politicians would have set up. Stay tuned. You're going to hear more about that. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Bain. How are you, sir?
Awesome, man.
The Honorable Lincoln Bain. I'm inspired, sir. I'm inspired to follow you and your work and things that you are doing for the Bahamian people. You are fighting for what's best for us with respect to the new Bahamas. You are fighting for the next generation. For far too long, we have allowed these politicians to take advantage of us. It was very interesting. I watched the PM's address, and I think a lady mentioned it, but the PM never mentioned anything with respect to what has taken place concerning Bahama, concerning Goodman's Bay, right?
Yeah.
And that's very, very interesting because I saw it was his left, my right, I think it was Tinker Bell, Mr. Bell's immigration. I call him Tinker Bell, right?
Yeah. Well, you can call him Dumbbell also.
Dumbbell, right? And then we also had there the Commodore. We also had the Minister of National Security, Wayne Monroe, and we also had the Commissioner of Police, Clayton Fernandez, right? Now, it was very, very interesting that the Prime Minister didn't thought it was wise to mention to the Bahamian people that what has taken place out there, he was not a part of it, he did not agree with it, and he's looking into the matter.
By him not saying anything, he is confirming that he was a part of it, and he helped orchestrate it, and he condones it.
That's what I'm saying.
And that is also going to be written in our complaint to the UN.
Exactly. That's sad, right? Because the brave Davis have to remember that he represents votes. You understand where I come from? He's the chief citizen. I know you can hear me. He's the chief citizen, and I disagree with what has taken place out there. You understand, right?
Yeah.
I disagree with that 100%. You see? But in any event, I don't want to take too long with this, but I just want you and Maria Daxon and Charlotte Green to be encouraged, right? Because at the end of the day, God is with us. Emmanuel, God is with us, and we will accomplish that what God has sent us to accomplish. I stand with you, and I agree with you.
Thank you.
All right?
All right.
Sir. Good night.
Good evening. 803-5995 is the number. 803-5995. That's the numbers. Listen, man. Philip, I almost called him brave. I'm sorry about that. I humbly apologize. Philip the Coward literally sent those police officers out there. He sent them out there to do that. No one can convince me of anything else. No one. This has never happened in Bahamian history, and no commissioner of police would do that without the sanctioning of the Prime Minister of this country. He did that. He did that. Crimes against humanity, there's no statute bar. And so I want you to understand, Philip Davis, that once the new Bahamas begins, you are going to pay for your crimes against humanity. Good evening, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening.
This one is for Mr. Clayton Fernandez and Mr. Nasty Miller. I have 2 daughters, 3 3 sisters and a granddaughter. I don't know how much daughters Mr. Nasty Miller. I don't know how much daughters Mr. Clayton Banana have. But I know they have a daughter and a wife. And if they were to see their wife or their daughter stomped and kicked, and Brave Davis didn't even mention it, I don't know what kind of world they live in. But to those guys, I have to let them know that there are people out here that is very angry over that situation.
Yeah.
And I love women. I love women with all my heart. And I'm very angry over it.
You know, I just want to say that I'm not necessarily disappointed in the government, you know. I understand that we have a criminal government running this country right now, and we all knew what the situation would be once this government got in. All right? And so you have people who represented criminals running the country and running national security. So we understood. I could understand their mindset. They have a criminal mindset, and they defend criminality. What disappoints me is the silence of the Christian Council, who were quick to speak out when someone said something that sounds similar to what they thought was a threat to Brave Davis. All the person says was he should be assassinated. That's what he needs. And he didn't say who the he was. And so the media were quick to put that on to say that he was talking about Brave Davis, especially the lying eyewitness news, that garbage of a station. He was quick to do that. They came out and defended. But now this isn't someone who said something out of order. These are women, our women in this country. Men were too. An elderly man was roughed up and dragged and kidnapped and then dropped off somewhere and let go. And other persons. Not one word from the Christian Council. Not one word from the Christian Council. The churches should have come together and said that this is wrong. I heard that T.G. Morrison at Zion Baptist on Shirley Street said something. Quick sentence about, it's wrong to assault Bahamians, to stop Bahamians from speaking their voice. But in terms of the church in general, every single pastor should have been up in arms. The media should have been covering this. And then if the pastors fail, I don't understand how we have women's group that have all kind of things to say about women in this country. But when women were beaten by the government unlawfully, illegally, and brutalized in the streets, not one of these women's group that takes donations from people to say that they care, not one of them spoke out. Did you hear anything from any of these groups?
Not one.
Did the Crisis Center say anything about this? Did FOAM, Candy Gibson, say anything about this? Did any of these other women's groups say anything about this?
Well, I'd like to say one thing, Mr. Van. I'd like to say one thing to that police officer. He needs to know that the Bahamian guys are very angry at him. So they need to put a cage around him. No threats, but they need to put a cage around him.
Well, I think what we need to do, and anyone out there, we need to find a picture of, and I didn't have time to look, a picture of 3812 Mitchell. And we need to circulate that to the Bahamian people. He isn't the only one, but him and Delaveau, so that patriotic Bahamians know to treat them well. When they come to their restaurant, when they come to their place of business, they know to treat them well. And so you know what to do. And so that's 3812 Mitchell, who brutalized that woman, injured her. She couldn't even walk in court. The court had to just let her out without a bail being signed properly because she was brutalized. They're going to pay.
You know that the Bahamian people are hungry. Okay? Be hungry. So
Thank you. Thank you for your call, man. Good evening, you're live.
Hello?
Yes, you're live. You can turn down your device.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Ben. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm great. Boy, Ben, if you continue on this pod, you could be greater than the Linden, man.
Well, the next generation should always surpass the previous generations. We stand on their shoulder.
That's great. That's great. Listen to me. I am so appalled with this weak, ineffective women's right movement. And you are right. They're weak. They selective in who they want to represent, especially the Zona Club of Nassau, that woman's group. I think it was a young lady, I think in Baintown or Camp Road, one of those grassroots areas that was raped or something. I think sometime last year, and they spoke nothing about it.
Wow.
You see? They spoke nothing. They weak. They're weak. They getting their little gravy. And you mentioned Candy. You don't got to speak on it, but I saw they was having some ceremony, I think, last 2 weeks ago in Nassau Village. You know, they ain't going to speak about that because they get their little funding from that. So I guess they don't want to speak on it. But the women's rights groups over here are very weak. This could never be in the States. They weak and they selective. And you know what? I don't even want to hear nothing from them right now. They weak.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you for your call, man.
Okay.
Thank you for your call. Go back to the phone lines. Good evening, you're live.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Bean. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Glad to see that you and all the supporters that were arrested, unlawfully, denied your constitutional rights. But, they're coming. You know what I mean? But what I really called about is the Prime Minister. He, how should I put it? During the CARICOM meeting, they had Mr. Zelensky from Ukraine as a invited guest. And I don't know if a lot of Bahamian people understand what's going on up in Europe with this war between Russia, with this war between NATO, America, and Russia. You can understand something. And all governments look like they're taking sides in this conflict. And I think that is not the way we should go understand, because there's a lot of propaganda that's going on with this war. What is truly the motive behind this conflict that is going on. But that's for another day. But we have our Mr. Fred Mitchell, who is our again, Mr. Foreign Affairs. He represents us on the world stage, that's supposed to. But he don't come to us. They don't come to us and ask our opinion, okay? And they voted unanimously to sanction Russia. Now, Russia has a list of these countries that what they call unfriendly countries towards them. Now, you got to understand that America is falling a dollar that is pegged to the petrodollar. A lot of countries are moving away from that. Okay? When America dollar falls, our dollar is going to fall. We are Brexit now. Okay? Some of the 5 major countries in the world, like South Africa, you got India, you got Brazil, China, and then Russia. And there's some other countries that is joining, that is making up this block. Okay, moving away from the SWIFT bank and all these European banks that is robbing our people.
Yes.
Okay, and what is going to happen now when the U.S. because the U.S. they're going to lose this war, no doubt about it. Russia is going to win this war, and when Europe starts to fall, which they are falling now, America dollar starts to drop because the petrol, nobody's going to buy oil or trade in the U.S. dollar. I need to know from you, how are we going to keep our eggs in one basket? Because we can be in plenty trouble. You understand? The way our things are going right now, and I want our Bahamian people to stop watching CNN and watch real world news outside of America, because not telling us the truth. How are you going to deal with this in terms of getting us away and having us, how should I put it, being more global, okay, being more global minded and not just sticking our eggs in one basket?
Well, again, there are certain countries that went from being developing nations to developed nations, and we can use a lot of their models. I'm not saying everything they did was perfect, but we can use a lot of their models. We have countries like Qatar, etc., that we keep quoting to you that don't have these kinds of issues. And so their dollar is valued at less than ours, even though their country is richer than us. So it's not just about the dollar value. Canadian dollar is valued less than ours. China dollar value is less than ours. So it's not just about the dollar value. So don't get caught up too much on the dollar value. All right. What we need to get caught up on is our value, the value of this nation and what we have to offer. What is it that we are offering to this world? What is it that we're offering? Well, we don't understand our value, and that's why we've been taken advantage of. Why is it that foreigners own all of our value? Right. They own our resorts, and we're a tourism nation. The foreigners do. And so when they own it and all we get is jobs, come on, what's the value? What are we getting from that? That's why we have a concern. And then when we have illegal immigrants coming in and replacing us for the jobs, I mean, that's mostly what we are, that's why we have a problem. And so we need Bahamians owning these resorts. The same way that Dubai did it, they formed a company called Nakil, and in fact, it's over 100 companies, I think 144 or something like that. And they formed companies, but the people own shares in this company, and this company invested in tourism. So they got loans when they first found their oil. There was only a little bit of oil, so they had to say, well, what are we going to do when we run out? Well, we're going to invest in tourism, get everyone to come here, make it a full spectacle that people want to come here. And they got people to come to the desert with no resources, with no beaches like us. They had nothing, and they got tens of millions of people every year to come to their desert. Right. While we can't get people to come, we're getting 1 point something people to stop over here in the Bahamas, 1.3, 1.5 million people the most to stop over here in the Bahamas. The persons coming on the cruise ship, it takes the total up to about 7 million now. Right. Most of them never leave the ship, even though they're counted. And so this is why we have to change the game. We have to have value. And so we're going to get value from our carbon credits. We're going to get value from our natural resources. So it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. When the world was locked down, Norway was still making money. Norway's people were comfortable. The downturn in the economy didn't affect their people. The same thing with Qatar and these other countries. The downturn didn't affect their people. And so we're going to empower our people so that no matter what happens, they're in a good position. All right. And so there's more to it. Stay tuned. We're going to be releasing these stuff as we go, but I can't explain everything one time. Don't worry about the dollar value. When all of our people are comfortable living from our natural resources, they can do whatever they want around the world. We're going to be here and we're going to be comfortable, and we're going to be invested in so much other Caribbean countries that it's going to empower us. The same way Jamaica can build a hotel in the Bahamas, all right, breezes, we can build resorts in their countries. We can send cruise ships and build cruise ship ports to their country. Our government would borrow $5-6 billion in one term. Why can't we borrow $1 billion and start a cruise ship mecca, a cruise ship global enterprise, empire? Why can't we go into shipping, to ship from China to the Bahamas, India to the Bahamas, or Europe to the Bahamas? Shipping, because all the ships go through Freeport. We need new vision in this country. All right. So I know I spoke long, but we got more to talk about that. There's a lot of vision and all this stuff we've already planned for, and we are ready to get launched from day one. We are ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I understand all that, and I appreciate that. And I'm an avid supporter of ZOI. I voted for you in the last election.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. But
so get your 10 people. We got to turn 10,000 into 100,000. Get your 10.
Yeah, most definitely. But it's so sad that our people are not educated on really what's going on. They need to, get away from the madness on social media and really focus and see what's going on and open up our eyes, man, because we're gonna get left behind if we don't really understand. Start thinking futuristically.
Thank you for your call, man.
But keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. 803-5995, that is the number. 803-5995, that's the number. I think they accidentally called me back. 803-5995 is the number, and so you can call in. 803-5995. And so I I just want to show you what most of the people who are arrested for. I'm going to show you. It's just information purposes. This is what most of the people were arrested for. All right. I'm going to do a screen share and show you the law and show you what most of the people were arrested for. Let me make this call first and then I'll show you. Good evening, live.
Good afternoon. Good evening, Mohammed.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Awesome.
I'm calling in reference to carbon credits and funds being transferred from the sovereign fund to the national investment
fund. Yes.
Could you do you have any idea where the money actually was deposited?
Where it was deposited?
Yeah.
No. The money isn't deposited anywhere yet. What they did was they changed the act. The act enabled us to have a sovereign wealth fund. All right. And Perry Christie's administration did that previously. It's 2016. Of course, he did it just before election to make sure that he didn't really do anything because they were pushing him for it. And that's what they always do. And he left it sitting. And why did he leave it sitting? Because Bahamians normally sit down and do nothing. All right. And so he did a sovereign wealth fund act that we could have benefited from. But we don't know if they actually did a fund and that money was deposited. We heard Dr. Minnis say that he's going to take $2 billion from it and build roads and bridges, et cetera, et cetera. All right. But we don't have a Freedom of Information Act yet. And Bahamians aren't fighting for that yet. And so, of course, they're going to get away with not doing it. But they created a National Investment Fund because what that does is that makes it, you see, all of the carbon credits, the natural resources, everything is owned by the people and it's managed by the government. But now with this new National Investment Fund, they can take all of our resources and distribute it to private individuals or private companies. And that's how they can benefit from what is ours. They are going to do public-private partnerships, which means that they're going to use our natural resources as collateral to make their billions of dollars. And they don't have to put much in it. And so they can take some of our keys, use it as a collateral to do whatever business they want to do. And they could justify it by saying that they're providing jobs. And so this is the criminal activity that's taking place with the carbon credits. The Prime Minister himself put it in the name of the Prime Minister. He put it in his own name so that he would control it. And so that's a theft of $9 billion. And it's only $9 billion because they're going to the voluntary market and they're only opening up to $9 billion. And they're using a voluntary market because there's no accountability in the voluntary market. It's not like the mandatory market that will be overseen by international bodies. And because they plan on stealing this money, in my opinion, that is why they're going to the voluntary market. And that we're only going to be, well, not us, but only $9 billion is going to be distributed. But that is now going to, it looks like that's going to go to Anthony Ferguson, who is sucking up to the Prime Minister. Of course, he's one of the owners of The Guardian. That's why you see The Guardian only covering certain stories and covering for him. And so that's where the theft is going to be, in my opinion. Anthony Ferguson is going to be able to control that, and they're going to make $9 billion. That's going to be shared between them if Bahamians don't wake up. All right?
Wow, thank you for all the information. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. The phone line was ringing off the hook. 803-5995 is the number you can now call. All right, you can get through now. 803-5995 is the number you can get through now. In the meantime, here is this is called Idle Assembly. Just hold the line 1 sec. I'll be right with you. This is Idle Assembly. It says assemblies. Whoever assembles with other persons in any public place or in any open space near a public place for any idle, you have to be doing something idle, vicious, or disorderly purpose. That means that you went there for the purpose of doing that, or otherwise than in the regular performance or in pursuance of some lawful calling or object to the, I'm sorry, the phone is ringing over me. unlawful purpose to the annoyance or obstruction of any passenger or person frequenting such a public place, or any person living near it, and does not move away when required to do so by a police officer. So that means if you're there for a purpose, like let's say you're there for a demonstration, that's a purpose. You're there to protest, that's a purpose. A protest is not illegal, and so that's not doing anything illegal by doing that. All right, and so if you're there for demonstration or a protest, that's a legal purpose that you're there. If you're there for a press conference, that's a legal purpose that you're there. And so if you're there for a legal purpose or objective, then it's not idle assembly. I'm just teaching you about idle assembly. Don't take this as nothing to do with our court case, all right? And if you do it and it's the annoyance or destruction of any passenger or person frequenting such a place, so that's not the police. It can't be the annoyance of the police. It has to be the annoyance of any person, any passenger or person who frequents such a public place, or any person living near it. All right, and you don't move acts by the police officers. All right, that's what unlawful assembly is. And so now the problem that we're going to have here is the credibility of the police force. Because if the police force don't know simple laws, we have a serious problem. Let's go to the phone line. I think the person's still holding. Are you there? I think we lost them. Let me see. All right, caller, are you there? If you're there, I can't hear you. All right, if you're there, if you're not there, you can call back. You can call us back. I thought you were holding the line. All right, caller, are you there? No, they're not there. 803-5995, 803-5995 is the number, and so that's what what do you call it? Idle assembly is. And so if you're there for a purpose, it's not idle assembly. Wow. And the police don't know the law, that's the problem. Good afternoon, you're live.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm very good. I'm so happy with the thing that you're doing. And also, I would like to know if you ever got to Freeport to address some of the matters as well.
Yeah, so we've been going to Freeport very frequently. We've been setting up structure there. We've put our executive team in place, and they're going to begin to form our branches, etc., in Grand Bahama. So stay tuned for that. And once they get that structured, we're going to come down there for some things that I can't announce yet. So just stay tuned in Grand Bahama. We're going to be doing some things down there. So just stay tuned, all right?
Okay.
Make sure you're watching our social media pages.
Yes, yeah, I'm watching that. You got you there again on lock. Another thing I'd like to know, what are we going to do with all these illegal who got passports, let's say, they're from the Bahamas or the Bahamian passports, which is illegal.
What are we going to do with the illegal passports?
Correct. Those passports are those illegal immigrants now.
There's going to be an investigation. There's going to be an investigation into fraud that took place at the passport office. We're going to investigate fraud. We're going to bring help in from international persons. I'm not going to talk everything now, but we are going to investigate that thoroughly and make sure that everyone who has a passport has a proper passport. But guess what? We're going to a new country. We're going to form a new country, the New Bahamas, and of course, there's going to be new passports.
Thank you so much.
And that's going to have some ramifications, all right? I'm not going to say anything other than that. All right, thank you, man. And so the next thing I wanted you to see before we get out of here is next thing I want you to see is unlawful assembly. All right, and so this is a lesson for you. Unlawful assembly. Unlawful assembly. There it is. Unlawful assembly. Unlawful assembly is an assembly of 3 or more persons who, with intent to carry out any common purpose, assemble in such a manner or so conduct themselves when assembled as to cause persons in the neighborhood. So that means cause the neighbors, people in the neighborhood. Let me take a phone call and then I'll come back to this. Good evening, you're live.
Yes, good night. Yeah, Mr. Ben, I just want to say, I appreciate and respect everything you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
As a young man at the Bahamas, and it's the first, I don't get mixed up in politics. I register, but I don't really vote. But this is the first time I really see, somebody who could just speak clearly and straight up to the Bahamian people and just lay everything right out on the table, so everybody on the same page, so everybody can make an accurate decision together and move forward positively. You see, so I just want to use this as an opportunity, besides politics and people just disagreeing on many things. I think as just human beings, we need to just slow down and take a breather sometime and realize that that it's more to life, than we see. We have what I basically trying to say is you have to. It's your life more than politics and arguing about this and that and things. We need to look at it as we just humans. If we have a purpose, is what I'm trying to say, as human beings. So a lot of people in life, if you was to say what a car is for, what a certain things is for, you would say. If you would say what's the purpose of, people need to find their purpose, and then humanity-wise, what God created us for. So, and then that'll help us clear up decisions on many other things.
You know what? While you're saying that, I just want to bring to attention to the Bahamian people that I wrote a book on purpose and teaching people to find their purpose. And this book has been a bestseller. I've taught the entire world. A lot of people don't know a lot of things I've done. I see people asking me about things I've done that I've been successful at. And one of them is being an author and a public speaker around the world. I've been invited to speak at universities, schools, colleges, businesses all around the world. I wrote a book and it's called Identity Crisis. It talks about finding your purpose and finding who you are. And a lot of people, caller, have said that the book has changed their lives. It's on Amazon. It's also in 100% Bible bookstore in Palmdale. And so the book is called Identity Crisis: Why the Man in the Mirror Doesn't Look Like You and What to Do About It. And that is what you're seeing on the screen with the lion and the cat right now. And I just want to read a couple of these, reviews.
Yeah, go ahead.
The persons, the ratings that are on here. You see top reviews.
Yeah, I do look for that because it's a scary thing. Imagine taking your last breath and then because coming back.
And that is why we want
years after, and you say, "Mother, I was doing it wrong all the time. I was being misled all the time." But we as adults and as individual people have the ability to get the raw, honest, straight up truth about life itself and moving accurately on that than decisions on governments and other material things in the world,
Yes, and this is why, this is why this is what inspires me to do this, because many Bahamians can't live their full potential because they're busy working on jobs and they can't do what they love because they just need a job. And some people ask me, what's going to happen if you give everyone $100,000 or you let everyone benefit from their natural resources? People are going to get lazy, etc. I don't think that's going to happen because we have countries where something similar did happen. No, they didn't give $100,000, but they gave a lot of benefits that are equal to that or more. And the people started to do what they love. They started to, instead of having to go and get a job, they can write that book that they dreamed of. How many books have not been written because you didn't have time? You were busy working, trying to survive to pay the rent. How many songs have not been written? How many paintings have not been drawn? How many businesses have not been opened because people couldn't take the risk? How many great ideas have gone to the graveyard because people couldn't take the risk? The reason I'm doing this because my mission has always been about helping people find their purpose. That's why I'm in this. That's the real story behind what I am doing.
Simple thing like imagine everything in the world was free. Everybody would just want to live like they would. The first thing they would do is want to live comfortable, eat good, live good, your family be happy. But then it's like you have to work for money to do that.
Yeah.
And some people want to live good by any means. So that's where all the complication comes in.
Awesome. But listen. I'm gonna end the call. Listen to what I'm reading now. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a book I wrote. I don't normally push my book. I don't want this to seem like I'm trying to sell something. And so you don't have me talking about this a lot. But this book has been very successful. It has a 4.6 rating on Amazon, a 4.6 out of 5, which is phenomenal. All right. That's 0 stars. It's a real good book. This person here says, a true key to fulfillment from its first story on. That's what this person says. This person is a verified purchaser in the United States of America. He says, this book was suggested to me, or rather blindsided me, as a friend just casually said, hey, check it out. It has been one of only 2 books that I would suggest to anyone, and moved me in a way that I didn't know was possible between 2 paper covers. It is by far one of the best explanations of why I've struggled to just be me, and probably why most people struggle to find earth-shattering happiness. If you would like to identify what it is that could be keeping you from just that one little thing to get over the hump and to get a place of real fulfillment and joy in your life, you need to read this book. It's also written just perfectly. It grabbed me by both shoulders, holding it back before I finished the first little introductory story, but surprisingly in a manner as though you were sitting right next to him, listening to his story, like he told you hundreds before. I believe you will love it and recommend it to anyone you can too. Lincoln Bain could easily become my favorite writer. I'm just looking for more. That's one person. This other person, again, someone in the United States, verified purchase, says this book is definitely a life changer. It has tons of laws and principles of God that help you walk in your purpose. Highly recommended. Persons in America, the reason this book went so viral is because persons were recommending it to their friends and families. All right, persons I never met, will never meet. They were recommending this all over the world. It was taking place. It says, this is an excellent book that once you start, it's hard to put down. This author has given us a very detailed information on discovering self, purpose, and the will of God. Just so you understand, some of the politicians, I had a friend mentioned telling me I need to get a job. He doesn't understand me. All right. I make money in my sleep. This book sells, and I make money from this book every month. I make enough money from this book that I don't ever have to work. Right now, from the paperback, the electronic, and the audiobook. And so they don't understand me. And so while they're busy trying to get contracts to survive, government contracts and corruption, I wrote a book that's helping people and transforming their lives, and the gift is making room for you. And so I get a check from this every single month. All right, well, 2 checks. This other person says, wow, this has stoked a fire in me to go and be what I've been called to be. Thank you, Lincoln. I have wanted to carry a message to the church that we are so much more than we are taught. And identity crisis hit it on the head. That's what they try to say. This other person says, 3 quotes that stand out are, don't blame anyone or anything. To blame is to empower. I am a most powerful confession. Be careful how you use it. Your dream is the realm in which your domain is the realm in which you exist. They're taking some pointers from the book and putting it on there. This other person says it's inspirational. The first person says a must read. This person says it's inspirational. This book came at a really dark place and was a vision of on the day that I thought I lost my bit of strength, it gave me a good wags to go. The other person says 5 stars. I really like the book, and it really changed my thoughts on how you approach life. This other person, 5 stars, says it's a must read. It was, I said, a must read, tremendously insightful. And remember, this is a Bahamian, and we can do so much with our lives if we don't have to worry about finding, hustling every day. All right. This person says, one of the most insightful, eye-opening, and revelatory books I have ever read. All right, and there's more reviews there, but I won't read the rest of them. This other person says it's brilliant. This other person is brilliant, great book, and easy to understand. This other person is 5 stars. This book will change your life. Yes. All right, and so there's more reviews. But this is a book that I wrote, and this is what drives me, helping people find out who they are. All right. So I'm going to end here. I know it's bedtime for a lot of people. It's getting late. So it's bedtime for a lot of people. We still have about 530 people watching now on Facebook, another 800 watching on other platforms right now, 843 watching on other platforms right now. And so we're going to, I'm sharing the screen. So let me go back to the other screen that I was on. Let me go back to that other screen. I was showing you the law. This is what unlawful assembly is. A lawful assembly is assembly. Okay, so it says a person in the neighborhood that you will put person in the neighborhood of such assembly to fair on reasonable grounds. I mean, reasonable ground, because you're doing something. You have pitchforks in your hand, you have a torch in your hand, you have cutlass in your hand, something, and you can't on bad. That you cause people in the neighborhood to be unfair, that the person so assembled will disturb the peace and majesty, or will be such, or by such assembly needlessly and without reason, occasion, provoke other persons to do it. So, I don't know. Looking forward to seeing what comes out of that. But I just want to say, if you want to get this book, please go to 100% Bible Bookstore. I should still have some. That's in Palmdale, where Starbucks is in that plaza, Royal Bank is in that plaza, right in that plaza right there. So you can go and get it there, or you can order it on Amazon, or you can go to audible.com. And if it's your first book, just go to Audible, sign up for free. And if it's your first book, it will be free. So if you want the audio version of this book, you can get it free by going to audible.com and sign up, and it'll be your first book. All right. Whose house you in, Lincoln? Mine. You want to come visit? All right. So let's see if anyone has any more questions. We'll end it here for tonight. I really want to thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned. Join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. We're going to go and do what we have to do in that shanty town. We're going to go and do what we have to do. All right. We're gonna assist that Bahamian woman. So she is really doing the demolishing on her property. So you know what that means. And so those persons who did what they did, it's a shame that those persons kicked her off her property, broke down her property, broke down her house. There was no one signing up for her. Threatened her. No one is going to do that to a Bahamian in this country. They stand up and fight for what's ours. And so we have a lot of things coming up. Stay tuned. I can't announce everything ahead of time, but stay tuned. We have a lot of things coming up. So make sure you're on top. You stay tuned. We're going to announce some stuff very soon that you're going to love. We're going to get out there. All right. So islands, we're coming to the different islands. I know we're not funded by what was his name, by Menace. Listen, I would eat dirt and live under the bridge before I have anything to do with Dr. Hubert Alexander Menace. He needs to be tried for crimes against humanity also. We don't have time to waste. We don't have time for nonsense. All right. Let's stand up and fight. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for being a part of this. We did 2.5 hours today. I know for some of you it's not enough. For me, it's not enough. But we're going to continue to stay focused on what it is we're doing. We're going to continue to stay focused. We got to save our country. We got to put Bahamians first in this country. How are we going to do this? You have to get this done. You have to spread the message. People say, oh, Lincoln, go in the parks. Going in the park doesn't mean that the 5,000 people, voters living in that area are going to come in that park. All right? You got to spread the message to your brothers, your sisters, your co-workers. You spread the message until they get it. You convince them to watch. That's why I go live every Sunday at 5 and every Tuesday at 8, so that they can come and they can help hear what we have to say, hear what the New Bahamas is about, and they can ask questions. And so that's why we're here. All right. So I want to thank all of you for being a part of this. Thank you for joining us. I want you to know that we love you. We're disappointed in the Prime Minister of this country, but we got to stand up and fight and get him gone. And so we're going to be sitting down drafting the letter to the UN. We have some professionals who are going to be dealing with that, and we are going to make our complaint. And maybe the government will be moved sooner than you think. We're going to do what we have to do. All right. So thank you all for tuning in. As I always do, I'm going to leave you with some videos.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous, and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything. You name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. We want water, we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining.
That's quite interesting.
And that's Sheikh Mohammed. Number one, he doesn't know number two. He needs only number one. He says, I don't know. There's no number two in my book. Only number one.
I hear he doesn't ride in a convoy.
I don't know how you did this in 50 years. You look at history. Who does this? Show me anybody else that has done this in 50 years. I'm waiting. Show them to me. This wasn't done by money. Money doesn't produce visions. Visions produce money. You've had leadership over here that were visionaries, great visionaries, and their vision was more about the people than the money, because you can't accomplish this in 50 years without loving your people first, because the people are the ones that's benefiting from this. Look at your health care. Look at your road system. Look at your highway system. Look at your airports. Who does this in 50 years? But who benefits? You're going to care about those people. It's something to be learned about what's been done over here that could be duplicated in the world, because there's people with this much money. You just don't have people with this much love for their people.
Carbon credits. Over the holidays, when all of you guys were out there partying and enjoying Junkanoo, the government passed the National Development Fund Act.
Stop right there. Last week I told you all that anytime you want to see something important happens, and I gave reference to the fact that they pass all the crime bills and all the things like rape cases and stuff like that, and all of the sex acts and stuff that people want to enjoy, They would pass those things at the end of the year. You remember me talking to you for that? They pass those things at the end of the year when no one is looking, no one peeping, no one checking nothing. They partying. So you hear what he said just now? They passed this thing, a second act, while you all were partying. You had no time to waste. Carry on, sir.
But what is even more significant, not that they passed the Act for the National Development Fund, that act also repealed the Sovereign Wealth Fund Act. So they repealed the Sovereign Wealth Fund Act and instituted this national development that the Prime Minister himself and the Minister of Finance, who happen to be the same person, has complete autonomy in terms of decision making.
And that's something.
Now, these acts separately by themselves doesn't constitute the big picture. But when you take a look at these acts in tandem, the big picture emerge. And so you ask the question, what's going on? If the Bahamas had decided to go to the mandatory side of the market, the UN had certain protocols in place. One of those protocols is that the government of the Bahamas would have to set up a sovereign wealth fund, and more than 60% of the proceeds from the carbon credits would have to go into that sovereign wealth fund and be dispersed to the citizens of the country.
See, now that's the big catch. Do you understand? You understand that that big catch means then that because they have done away with the Sovereign Wealth Fund, there is no 60% to put into the Sovereign Wealth Fund. You follow? And so the Sovereign Wealth Fund is no longer. Carry on.
And there are a couple of things that happened prior to that. That has to do with FTX. But we're going to get to that a little bit later on in the show because I don't want to get that really conflated with what's going on here. I ran some numbers, and I'm going to throw some conservative numbers at you, very conservative numbers. The first tranche of carbon credits, the initial tranche based on Mr. Ferguson, who has been appointed to the management company, who's in charge of the management company. The initial tranche, according to him, would be $9 million. 9 million units of carbon credits, which is about just under $800 million if you go to the mandatory side of the market. Now, the total valuation for the mangrove swamps in the Bahamas is close to 100 million units of carbon credits. So you're talking about just over $8 billion annually. And so 60% of that going into a sovereign wealth fund means that every single citizen of the country over the age of 18 would receive a sovereign wealth payment monthly of between $3,000 and $3,500 monthly. And on an annual level, it would be between $36,000 and $42,000.
This may be the best citizenship in the world, and they all have it. Because of this card, they get free land, free education, free weddings, free hospitals, and even a free funeral. It's the citizenship of a country in the Middle East called the United Arab Emirates. This is what life is like for citizens from the Emirate of Dubai. And because the city is so generous, they get the craziest benefits I have ever seen. Are you ready for this? When you are born, your parents pay nothing. Your delivery and checkups for the next 9 months are all free. Then you grow up and you go to school. Local school in Dubai is free! And so are universities, because Dubai will pay for you to get a degree.
I studied at Zayed University and New York University, both for free.
Who's gonna pay for that?
The government.
Then you get married. If you can't afford the wedding, you get $20,000 to throw a wedding. And after marriage, every local Dubai family gets this: free land. Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Sure, yes.
And if you cannot afford the home, then you get a grant to build it for free.
I also can't afford building a house. I can get a 0-interest loan on housing.
Zero?
Zero.
If you need to go to the hospitals are free. And if you need surgery that's not available here, they will fly you to another country to get treatment for free. When you become a senior citizen, you get discounts, many discounts. And if you live alone and can't afford it, Dubai will even send a caretaker to look after you for free. And when you die, well, in Dubai, that's also free. Your funeral will be taken care of, and Dubai will build a full tent with air conditioning within 5 hours of your death next to your home, so your friends can come and say goodbye to you. The point of government is to take care of people. And in Dubai, they take it to the extreme. Imagine if every city, every state, every government in the world did this. We would have a much happier world.